So, Highguard came out today. Is it the best game ever made? Is it worse than Concord? Let's find out in this video. And here's where an opening would be if I had one. But I got to play around with Highguard today. I'll have some random moments, clips from the gameplay that I went through today. I played with a few different characters and got the main gameplay loop kind of situated and that kind of thing. And I have a few things to say about it. Is it a bad game? No, I don't think so. I think it has actually some really cool bones, and the premise is interesting. Dropped a battle royale into a tower defense kind of game. It's almost like that. Now, I don't know of any other games that have this base mechanic, like you're protecting and attacking the other enemy's base, you're protecting your own. I don't know of any other games in the hero shooter kind of ideology that has that. If there are, please let me know in the comments. But Highguard actually looks really nice. The graphics are pretty good. Personally, on PS5, it does run pretty well, with the exception that wasn't my doing necessarily, but my first game, my two companions did drop out. They got disconnected. I don't know if that was a PC issue. I've heard a lot of issues on PC, the port over there, so that could be the problem. Downside is it doesn't backfill, so you're kind of screwed. I played through, attempted to play through it, and you can't. The 3v1 is just, unfortunately, it's too much. So the good things. The graphics are nice. The gameplay itself isn't terrible. It has a lot of unique characteristics to it. A little slow at times, and the overall maneuverability of the characters feels a little janky at times. You can ride a bear. You can ride a panther. You can ride a griffin. Kinda cool. There's a battle pass. There's some stuff on it. They give the first battle pass, for free. Super cool and appreciated. There are 8 characters to choose from at the beginning, each with their own unique abilities, which is kinda neat. Now, I don't know how many heroes came out in games like Apex Legends, Valorant, what is that, Firelight, I think? Those kind of hero shooter type of games. Hell, even Concord, RIP. How many true characters came out in that? But this one has 8. It's kind of cool. They all have an ultimate ability, so you can definitely tell the inspiration came from the devs that did work on Apex Legends, because your weapons, for one, you have 2 weapon slots and the heavy weapon slot, and then your grenade is tied to the directional button, which is kind of weird, and I think Apex does that too. And then you have abilities. You have hero abilities. You have kind of a continuous one that's always on, passive power. You have your one single ability that has a short recharge, your tactical power, and then you have your ultimate power, which is your ultimate ability. That does take a lot longer and tends to be more powerful. I did notice that it's not always the greatest. When I played as Una, she didn't exactly have the greatest ult. I summoned the tree creature, super cool. The animation for it was cool. The tree creature itself was kind of dopey. I summoned it directly next to the point at one point, and it did not really attack. It doesn't move around. It didn't throw small spirits like it's supposed to at the other the enemies that were coming in. So I don't know if that was an issue with the game, or that that specific just ultimate ability isn't great. Some other things that are kind of wonky are the just kind of damage and damage per second, plus really the weapons. Shotguns are trash. Every game tries to balance things, which I understand is very hard to do. But when you have things that shoot extremely fast and reload extremely fast, and then you have shotguns that shoot extremely slow and aren't near as powerful on a DPS stance, for damage per second stance as the SMGs and the assault rifles, it's just not a good gun. It's really not. It needs to be more powerful. Even headshots just weren't doing the same as what they were for my SMG and assault rifles. Now rocket launchers, pretty cool. But through the gameplay loop, you do notice that you can go through your movement ability. Unfortunately, is extremely slow as your person, as your character, But when you jump on your mount, my God, it just feels so much smoother. It feels like this is supposed to be a mounted combat game, more so than a tactical, like, close quarters game. But shooting on riding and shooting is hard. They do make it feel like harder to aim if you're moving around at a high speed like that. So you have to pick your poison here, whether or not you want to do that or not. I don't think this game is innately bad. I know it's getting tons of just negative review bombs on Steam, but no offense to the PC people, but they have this gang mentality just to shit on things before they can really like flesh them out and figure out what the game's about and that kind of thing. There are some negative parts to the game. Like, it doesn't have a lot of content. I feel like the gameplay loop will get kind of boring. I got to the point where I kind of figured out that the shield breaker, which is the sword you get to be able to go into the other person's base, you're pretty much starting the game by resource collecting, or well, it's defense, so you put the defenses on your base, resource collect to try to get better gear, and then the shield breaker comes out, which is the sword that you can pretty much stab into the other team's base to summon your battering ram to break it open and put a little attack on their base itself. And you try to kill 2 of their shield generators or the heart that they have in the middle of their base. It's an automatic win if you break their heart, or if you have to break the 2 shield generators to win. Now, I found that if you just go grab the sword, sneak around, or get on your mount and run around for a bit, and try to like fake out where you're going, you go to one specific kind of shield breaker part of the base. Instead, you quickly cut around to make sure you don't get shot off your mount, and then go to the other side. Your mount's fast enough they can't catch up if they don't see what you're doing, and you can easily jump into their base pretty quickly. And if you do that 3 times, you kind of just win. You know, there's like phases to the game like that, where if you don't break everything or immediately destroy their base in the first round, you do have to kind of restart the round. It sends you back to your base, restart. So it can be a back and forth. I'm sure a round could take up to probably like 20-30 minutes. If you go, they go 2, you go 2, the health of your bases are close. It goes into like an overtime kind of thing. I didn't have that experience. I found you kind of just rolled the team or got rolled. But after figuring out that shield breaker tactic, it kind of just worked and won a few games in a row. And I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. But the same thing with that happening, kind of remove the intentionality of all these other features that they have for like defending and like creating stronger walls for your base, along with like defenses. Like the defensive aspect of it is really just with 3 people. The base is too big to cover for 3 people, so you're kind of covering one of your shield generators or the heart, waiting for them to plant a bomb. All right, go over and do that and try to break it or disarm it, or you just let it happen and then wait for them to attack your other one if they do get it again. I don't see that being a ton of fun after, I don't know, 5-6 hours of doing it. Even if you try all the different characters and stuff, I feel like there's not a ton in the core game loop that's just going to tie you there. Even the battle pass and stuff, which is their hope. And it looks good. Everything looks pretty polished in regards to the character designs. The character abilities are all pretty cool. But there just isn't a ton of extra game modes. There's one game mode, Raid. They're going to work on a ranked at some point, which is fine. People love competitive. I get it. But this needs something else. 3v3, the map's medium to big, I would say. For 3v3, a 5v5 mode would work pretty well. Still keep the same size map. More players on the map would kind of cause some chaos, but I think it would really benefit the game. And then even doing like just a team deathmatch. I don't like listening to streamers and popular folks, but I saw like Shroud and Flats. They were all streaming the game. I didn't actually watch them, but you see a lot of the mentality when these kind of games come out that, they need a battle royale. Same with like Battlefield when it came out, right? But I kind of could understand that being in this game because of the lack of other game modes that are available. And they kind of already have the baseline model understood from Apex, where you could just drop a 3v3, v3, v3, 30 people into the map, maybe 30 for these medium maps, maybe expand the maps just a tad bit, which I understand isn't an easy task, but that could be a potential to just create game modes faster for those modes, or for those people who really want different content all the time, and you really appease a lot of those streamers. I don't know. Do I think it's a terrible game? No. I think it has good bones, but I don't think it'll last. It's not Concord in regards to how fast it'll die, I don't think. But people are pretty negative when it comes to free-to-play games nowadays. I mean, guys, it's free. Like, you expect these AAA tier $70, $100 games, like, full of content, for free. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Now, there are games that have, like, amazing amount of content. Those are RPGs and that kind of thing. This one does need a little bit more to release quickly, or at least a roadmap quickly released of what's going to be coming out, because we kind of gotten spoiled with the new free-to-play games that have come out in the last year or so. Marvel Rivals, I mean, they've dropped content faster than Overwatch ever did. It forced Overwatch to make content faster. Not saying it's good or not, but they did, which is amazing. And then in regards to the team hero shooter part, Apex had stuff pretty consistently. I'm not sure about Valorant, never played a lot of it, but I'm sure it had a decent amount because it's still a popular game. One quick aside, actually, guys. I was trying to play with a buddy, so we were in duos, and since it is a 3-person game, we couldn't actually find the game. I don't know if that was from crossplay being an issue because he was Xbox and I was PlayStation, or if it was due to being duos and everyone had duos, but there weren't a lot of single players online. I really doubt that, since Steam alone had like 40,000 concurrent players at the time I was trying to do that. I think it has gone down actually since. I think it peaked at like 90-something thousand today on Steam and then dropped drastically pretty quick. But that was like the biggest issue I kind of found with the game. But let's hope they continue releasing content and at least communicating with the masses, unlike what they did pre-release, which was 0. So, are you guys playing Highguard? Do you want to see it continue? Do you want it to die like Concord? Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.